On TNN Salute to Motorsports. Let me ask you something. Are you ready for some drag racing? Can you imagine a quarter mile in 4 seconds at 300 miles an hour from a standing start? You better believe ODW won't be at the wheel. Let's go to Pomona, California and check out the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic.
The following program is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports. 6,000 horsepower, a tick over 4.5 seconds, 310 plus miles per hour, 19 races, 8 elite drivers, $100,000, the 12th annual Budweiser Classic. It is a blustery, cool, and incredibly clear day here at Pomona Raceway in Southern California. This weekend, the site of the curtain-closing Winston Select Finals and the race within the race, the Budweiser Classic for Top Fuel Dragsters. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans, and welcome to the first of 3 live races from Pomona we'll bring you over the weekend. We hope you enjoy all of them. This, of course, the next hour is the Budweiser Classic. Now, let me talk a little bit about that. There's not enough money in the world to buy your way into this field. You conceivably could win every race all season long and not be in the Bud Classic. It's all based on qualifying at national events. The quicker you qualify, the more points you earn, and the better your shot at joining this 8 today for $100,000 in Bud Bucks. Now, they say you can't tell the players without a program, right? Well, here's your program courtesy of Bob Fry.
Hey, program, get your program. Well, it's a long time from Pomona to Pomona, Steve, and these guys rack up a lot of miles and a lot of points en route to qualifying for the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic. And let's take a look at the way they're going to match up. You can see Kenny Bernstein and Corey Mack on the same side of the ladder. That could be interesting. The two Colettas on different sides of the ladder. They could meet each other in the finals. Only 3 of these drivers, Bernstein, Coletta, and Eddie Hill, actually qualified in the #1 spot during the 1996 racing season. So that's the way they're going to pair up. And now let's meet the top 8 drivers in this year's Bud Classic. In the #8 spot, veteran racer Connie Coletta with 2,200 points. Ed McCullough tuned the American International Airways car to Connie's 4th Top Fuel Classic. Hey, even for the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation, $100 grand is a pretty good payday.
Yeah, it's a prestigious race. It's something that's it's a dynamite. It's like winning the U.S. Nationals because you build up to it all year, and you really hustle to get the points in the qualifying that they can put you into that show.
Eddie Hill holds the #7 spot with 2,245 points. Pennzoil dragster crew chief is Fuzzy Carter. Eddie runner-up in the '93 Bud Classic. The same year he won the Winston Top Fuel title, and he makes his 10th Top Fuel Classic appearance.
Well, it's nice to have it our 10th. You know, it's great to be consistent enough to be able to do that as often as we have. So that feels good to be considered, I guess, a player, you know, for that length of time. And it feels good right now to have a pretty good tune-up on the car coming into this deal and have a shot at $100 grand.
The #6 spot is Larry Dixon in the Miller Racing dragster with 2,315 points. Don Perdomo's car is tuned by Wes Cerny. Larry Dixon is the defending Classic champion, winning the race in his rookie season.
All I wanted to do last season was qualify at all the races to be eligible to get into the Bud Classic, just to run in there, and had no dreams of even winning it. And then here we went first round and then second round. All of a sudden we're in the final, and I'm like, wow, we got a good chance of winning this thing.
Joe Amato occupies the #5 spot, driving the Keystone Key Parts dragster with 2,470 points. Jimmy Proctor, the head wrench for the 5-time Winston Top Fuel champion, who has the distinction of being the only driver to compete in all 12 Budweiser Top Fuel Classics.
Well, you know, being one of the top 8 qualifiers for 12 years just goes to show you, I guess we've been blessed with good performance over our career, and I think we probably won more of these races than anybody else. You know, we won them when they were 25,000, 50,000. Now Budweiser's blessed us with $100,000 to win, and that's a nice payday.
Corey McClenathan holds the #4 spot with 2,495 points. Credit Lee Beard with tuning the McDonald's car to 3 national event wins this year. Corey has 2 runner-ups in 4 Classic appearances.
Next to Indy, that's one that everybody wants to win. I've been the runner-up maiden here twice, and I'll tell you, I like to go home with that $100,000 and actually take some of Kenny's and Budweiser's money with me.
Scott Coletta holds the number 3 spot with 2,525 points. Crew chief Dick LaHaye has soon got the 2 Winston championships and a runner-up at last year's Classic. Scott will get a rematch of that final round in this year's first round. In the number 2 position is Shelly Anderson with 2,130 points. Shelly comes in as the number 1 alternate, replacing the late Blaine Johnson. Shelly won the Classic in 1994. $100,000 at stake isn't what lights her up.
Actually, it's the honor of winning it, the title. I like the trophy. Dad gets some money, and we get always something to qualify, you know, a jacket or a suitcase or something nice that we have forever.
Kenny Bernstein has the top spot with 2,640 points. Dale Armstrong-tuned Bud King dragsters clinched the 96 Winston crown. Kenny doesn't feel any additional pressure to win because his sponsor is putting up the purse.
It's a great event for Budweiser and for NHRA and for drag racing, so it doesn't matter. They're happy to pay the money to anyone, but I'm sure deep down they'd like to pay for the red car.
Pay a little green to the red car. Be like Christmas coming early for Kenny Bernstein. He's on a very tough side of the ladder, and it's certainly not going to be easy. And I talked with a lot of the teams earlier, and maybe the honor of just being the baddest dude on the block means more to these guys than picking up the $100,000. But there's a lot of cash up for grabs, and to tell you all about that, the third member of our broadcast team, Frank Hawley.
You know, the Budweiser Classic is one of the most exciting top fuel races of the entire season, with over $100,000 up in prize money, a total of $147,000 in total payout. Now, what's interesting that if a driver happens to win the Bud Classic today and the Winston Finals tomorrow, they get an additional $50,000 bonus from Winston. Now, that's not as impossible as it sounds, because John Force did that this year when he won the Big Bud Shootout, and the following day the U.S. Nationals. And 1 year ago here, Larry Dixon almost did the same thing. Bob?
He said he was within hundredths of a second of winning a lot of money. Well, earlier today, they squared off in round number 1. Let's take a look at that first pair, Shelly Anderson and Eddie Hill, as we took a look at it earlier. There's a look at one of our previous winners, Shelly Anderson, and there's the former Winston champ, Eddie Hill. First pair in the water for the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic. Shelly Anderson's car ran extremely well at the last national event. 4 spectacular qualifying events. And then she was not able to put it together during elimination. Western Auto Parts America machine won this thing back in 1994. As we get set for the first pair, Frank Hawley is down there in the starting line area. Frank, what do weather and track conditions look like as we get set for the Classic?
This morning, I think it's going to make the tracks in great shape. There's some tremendous performances. Drivers, this isn't the Winston Championship points at stake here, so I think they're going to go all out and see if they can break the track record, set some low ETs, and we're certainly going to see some great matchups this morning.
There's a look at Brad Anderson. He won 3 Winston championships and basically dominated here at this racetrack back in the alcohol category. He's got his daughter Shelly moving that Western Auto Parts America car to the starting line in front of a huge crowd here at the Fairplex. Eddie Hill, Shelly Anderson, first pair on the line. Tires, and Eddie Hill strolls into round number 2 of the Classic with a 488, 278 miles an hour. He was there for the taking. He, too, smoked the tires down track, got dangerously close to that center line. But the Pennzoil car has marched into the second round here in the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic. Watch this. As soon as they hit the tires, Shelly Anderson, just like she did in her last 2 runs at Dallas 2 weeks ago, smokes the tires. They have not been able to regain that form that they had in qualifying at Dallas. Eddie Hill now strikes the tires, strolls toward the center line at the middle of the racetrack, and then straightens it out. 488, the numbers, 278 miles an hour. Eddie Hill, Ursi, his wife, and Fuzzy Carter. It wasn't pretty, but they have gone in to round number 2. Steve Evans at the far end of the racetrack with our first winner.
I'll tell you, Tex, a 480 shouldn't have won that drag race, but it did, and a little close to that center line. Scary.
Man, that deal was really wormy, but I didn't want to give it up. I didn't see Shelley, and I didn't know where she was. Didn't want her to come thundering by, so I tried to string her on through there, and hope it works better next time, but it's good to be here.
This may be a different racetrack than we've seen this weekend. There's cloud cover. It's cooled off 15 degrees.
Well, that's right, too. And then, of course, first pair may be a little bit of a disadvantage. The track will probably get a little better after another pair or two.
Stay with us, everyone. We'll be back with more round one action of the Budweiser Classic here on TNN.
TNN's exclusive live coverage of the Budweiser Classic is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Valvoline Durablend, the #1 selling semi-synthetic motor oil. Welcome back, everybody. It is Chamber of Commerce weather here in Southern California. Now, maybe a couple of degrees colder than the Chamber of Commerce likes, but it is ideal for Top Fuel racing here in the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic. We got a great rematch of a former final coming up in round number 1. Right now, let's look back at 92. The championship run would feature Corey McClanathan running as an independent against Joe Amato, who virtually dominated this racetrack in the early years. Ironically, Jimmy Prock, who was with Corey Mack then, is with Joe Amato now. Couple of car lengths. And Joe Amato got the win, and Corey Mack made it to the finals and came oh so close. And that year he also came very close to winning the Winston Championship. He just missed that by about 92 points. Let's take a look at another first round matchup as we took a look at round 1 of the Budweiser Classic. Here are a couple of the big hitters, the red hot Corey McClanathan and the guy that basically owned this classic in the early days, Joe Amato. Frank Holy, I want to check with you. The tire smoke we saw from Shelley Anderson's car, do you think that was more car or more racetrack or a combination?
Well, we're getting ready to find out, Bob. You know, I think the lanes are probably fairly even right now. Shelley was going up there. She knew Eddie was going to run well. I think they would have rethought it if they could have, knowing that Eddie was going to have problems further down track. But I would expect to see some pretty good side-by-side stuff down here. I was out walking around the starting line before they started the Classic, and I'll tell you, the lanes look pretty good to me, Bob.
Steve, this ought to be a monster run. Just the luck of the draw. Two of the big-time runners in our sport at Top Fuel are going to beat right here, and one of them's going to bow out early.
And I'll tell you, Corey McClanathan wants to win this race maybe more than any other driver that I talked to. Fresh off that victory in Dallas, he has the steadiest car in the country right now. He can run mid-460s, and in qualifying for tomorrow's Winston Select Finals, he is #1 on the list.
Yep, and he has never run better than he has here in qualifying. He's been in the mid-460s. Joe Amato won this race 5 of the first 6 times. Jimmy Prock, the crew chief, moves his guy up to the starting line. Joe Amato and Corey McClanathan, and as Steve said, there's not a hotter guy in the class right now than the driver of the Mickey D's car. Great drag race, and look at this. 469. Corey McClanathan beats Joe Amato's 464. A stunning driving job. Corey Mack, not that brilliant on the line with that 492 reaction time you saw, but Joe Amato must have been distracted or lost concentration. He had a reaction time of 6:17, and Corey Mack carries the wheels a little bit, sets him down. He runs 300 miles an hour. He is 500 slower on the racetrack, but watch this. At the finish line, just like at the starting line, Corey Mack is first. Wow. Sensational run, and the McDonald's car goes into round number 2 and chalk one up for the drivers. And Steve, that's why they make the big bucks.
Oh, buddy, I'll tell you, we used to call this the Joe Amato benefit. Not anymore. Corey Mack, a 469, took out Joe's much quicker run.
Really, I'll tell you, she had the front end in the air for a long time, and I thought, just stay in it, kid. It'll come down. It did a real smooth run. McDonald's car doing a great job. Try to do my job through the winner's circle. It takes
like that, and he may have that 100 grand. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back with more from the Fairplex in Pomona.